YouTube. 9075 for here. Thought I had to come out for Cop Tuesday on Missouri Meerschaum. I think it's the Diplomat, the 5th Avenue edition. My Forever Stem. I think I've been wanting to get another one of these because, yeah, I just kind of get tired of switching them back and forth, but I might get a different style. I don't know. But smoking some Old Joe Krantz, C&D. It is good. Kind of a, I want to say high medium to full strength. It's got some perique in it, so it's got a little bit of a spice, a little bit of that retrohale kick, but I was thinking, lately I've been reaching for a little bit stouter burleys. And I was stuck between Five Brothers, Pegasus, and Labramousse or OJK, Old Joe Krantz. And Old Joe Krantz at the end called a little bit louder, and I think it's a good choice. It's a little bit cooler right now. Also, I'm trying some Buffalo Trace straight Kentucky bourbon for the first time. And this is good stuff. I got into trying to taste whiskeys and really identify what I'm tasting. That was a very short train. I might try and learn and get back into it, but you know, it's not too complicated, and it's slightly sweeter, but not too sweet. I've let the Crown Royal Blender's Mash kind of sit for a while. I went back, and it was a little bit sweeter than I thought. It was a bit sweeter than I remembered, and I probably would enjoy that maybe one finger. You know, something like this Buffalo Trace, I could probably drink a double on the rocks, just, you know, or sip it throughout. But Crown Royal, the Blender's Mash is a little sweet for me. Anyway, oh man, it goes great with some Old Joe Krantz. It's been a while since I've had some bourbon in a pipe, or any tobacco really. I used to drink bourbon when I'd have cigars, and I think it's gonna be a cigar day pretty soon. I've been getting in the mood for one, kind of craving them. Excuse me. I follow a couple of cigar pages on Facebook. I'm not too active on though, because that place can, you know, I think we talked about this plenty. It's different. It's funny how different platforms have different feels, vibes. Excuse me. And Facebook is one of those places that just can get, it can go from 0 to 60 in a hot second. And once it comes out, you get a bunch of trolls that just jump on the bandwagon. Anyway, but I've been looking at that, and then I have quite a bit of cigar people on Instagram, and I've been seeing a lot of posts. And I've been upkeeping my humidifier, my humidor. So I got a couple some nice sticks in there. I think I have to unsubscribe to different emails because it's getting hard to not buy stuff. But I get a little bit more of the rye coming up. But one thing on the nose, and also when I find new whiskeys, did I get ash in there? That's okay, it'll make me stronger. I just there's one I'm gonna grab. I just kind of wet my lip with it and then taste it so you get a real good sense of the taste without the real burn. And it's kind of fruity, kind of like appley, maybe apricot. But you don't have to chase it that hard. Just sip it, enjoy it. It'll go well with some OJK. If you don't like OJK, it might go good with, I don't know. Personally, I think bourbon really is a great pairing with anything that is not aromatics. Virginia based, some vapors. I feel like my beard's flashing out right now. Yeah, but OJK on that retro hill, you get some nice kind of earthy cocoa with some spice, and that goes good with the bourbon. I almost said brandy. Anyway, just been enjoying the cooler weather as much as we can. It's been nice and cool in the mornings, especially at work. So today it was busy. So it's the project I'm currently on, it's pretty limited. It's a small area. They're going to develop some affordable housing, like condos in it. And then we have these 2 burials that we found. We buffered them off so they had to even get pushed out a little bit more. And it's not that big of a lot, but it's right next to the base yard for the company that won the bid. So they bring all their giant machines over, and they're kind of on this weird timeline. I think they're just trying to stay busy while they're waiting to hear about the burials. So they jump on all the machines at once. For a long time they were running 2 machines, and then they jumped up to 3 machines. So we need 1 archaeologist per machine, right? So that was going on, and then the environmental guy showed up for soil samples. So he was like, hey, I'm going to be drilling holes all the way down the side of this road, and it's right next to the burial. So I'm like, hold up, okay, I wasn't told of any soil samples. I thought it was going to be 2 or 3 samples. No, this dude was doing 150 pretty much along the whole 300-foot dirt road that we got some sectioned off. That's a no work zone, and the other parts we're watching them actively work. So call my boss, and he's like, wait, what? He's like, so you got 3 machines going. One's doing water line off of the main road coming to the project area. One is doing electrical trenching and electrical box installation. And then me, I'm watching them build a swale on the end for kind of water control. And then this guy shows up with his drill, and it's only like an 1.5 inch diameter, but this guy's going down 4 feet. So any kind of ground disturbance, we got to be there. And it's a pretty busy morning running between my crew and checking in on the guy with the drill, but we made it work. So it was a full house. We had 3 archaeologists on site, and I haven't even seen that much busy work, even when I worked on Oahu, downtown, Waikiki, or Honolulu. We have 1 archaeologist. It would be me watching the whole crew. And this small little crew is doing 3 machines at once. Dang it. So probably gonna be like that for tomorrow. Rest of the week, actually, tomorrow. I kept thinking today was Wednesday. Got to hang out with the guys I directly work with a little bit more. Sometimes it takes a while to open up, and pretty quiet at work, especially when we're doing construction stuff. Like they have their job assignments, and it's really easy to get to talking, and then you can be distracting them while they're focusing on their work. But we started talking about hunting, and the guys I was working with, they loved hunting, and was asking about me back home in Alaska hunting and stuff like that. But I don't know. This project is not my favorite. The guys are cool, but I don't know. I don't know if it's weird timing or what. But apparently, when I was gone last Tuesday, I had an appointment. These guys were working kind of by the road, and this lady drove by. Now, for those of you who might not know, development in Hawaii is often very contentious. You have a very small amount of land, right? They're islands. And long story short, there's a lot of fighting to keep development at bay. Especially with the past of history. What am I talking about? The past of Hawaii, the history of Hawaii, and the colonization, that kind of stuff. So that topic can get pretty heavy, but something that you should really look into if you've ever been to Hawaii and want to come to Hawaii, or just interested. So anyhow, there's a lot of projects now, especially here on Maui. Maui is very rooted in small town nostalgia, and out of all the islands, they fight probably the hardest, which can make my job very difficult. So anyway, there's usually when you're working on projects, you get quite a bit of protesters. They can be not quite violent. They threaten violence sometimes. Just real kind of nastiness. And then you have to remember too, everybody's on top of being human and feeling irregular emotions. You clock off, and then you go home, go to the stores, you go out and have your weekend. So you run into these people, and some of them learn to recognize you. But anyhow, this crew was working on the side of the road. I was gone, but this lady drives up, and she's a Pahauli lady, not from here, or white. And she yells at my buddy Jonas and the crew members, gives him the finger. And she's like, F you guys are ruining the Aina. Just land in Hawaiian. And then she drove down, turned around, came back, yelled at him again, turned around, flipped him off, yelled at him again, all the way down. And the guys working the construction, they're Hawaiian. They're like from here, Hawaiian. Which, by the way, there is a distinction. A lot of people think if you're just living in Hawaii, they're like, oh, you're Hawaiian. No, you're Hawaiian if your ancestry is pre-contact Hawaiian, Polynesian, right? So these guys are Hawaiian. They just look at her and laugh. And we had some other people stop, take pictures. That's another weird thing working here. People do a lot is there's these different pages and groups, and they'll hang out at projects. And they'll videotape you. They'll just sometimes all day. And if you sit down for lunch, they'll be like, look, these guys aren't even doing their job. They're just sitting down. Okay. Sometimes they hire drone pilots, people with little drones, and fly over and take pictures. And I don't know. Try not to let it bother me, but it makes me feel like I'm under a microscope. And sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, I'm here to make sure all the laws and protocol is followed. When we do find archaeology, or we do find human remains, you know, I'm doing my utmost to make sure, not only legally, but ethically. Because there's times too when you're not thinking about it, you know, it's your everyday job. You come across a burial. I'm sorry, my pipe went out. I'm gonna use a lighter. And, you know, sometimes people are like, they're in work mode, or, you know, you're just trying to get through the day, so you might be cracking jokes by the burial. You gotta be like, hey, you know, we gotta buffer off and make room here, and, you know, kind of watch what you're doing. Excuse me. So, and then they always have these accusations that I think I talked about this too, so sorry if I sound like a broken record, but they make these accusations that we work with developers, or we work with construction companies to cut corners on archaeology, cut corners when we find burials or find features, or that, you know, we get paid off to do all these things. And the company I work for has been around since the 80s. It's a big company. It's like 100 plus people. Well, for archaeology. And like, the people that do that kind of stuff, that was in the 70s and 80s, maybe 90s. But they're the small 1 to 2 archaeology teams that have the most to gain from that. Right? If you have a two-person company and you bid on something that's a couple $100,000, like, you're making money, and then you can be more swayed. You can't. There's so much bureaucracy, like any other office. So I just laugh because some people think that we conspire. I'm like, we can't even organize an email chain and agree on a meeting to talk about start times on a project, let alone meet with all the different players in development and conspire to hide archaeology and hide bones. Like, I'm just like, man, I really wish you could just come work with me. Just come look at the office, read the emails, it's all there. We can't even organize freaking start dates with everyone, let alone big conspiracy theories. Anyway, I don't want to vent too much, sorry guys. So, it's been a busy project. It's right next to a previous project that got shut down from a different company. So it's a hot zone, which we knew when we started this. I was thinking, oh man, I think we're gonna find something. And it's right in the dunes where it's traditional burial areas because it's all sand. But excuse me. So that's what I've been up to. It wasn't even my project originally. I went to go cover for my buddy Jonas one day. He had an appointment. Found all kinds of stuff. So, well, not really. We found 2 burials, but that's a huge find that changes a whole bunch of plans. now. I don't know what you guys been up to. You been smoking anything good? If you've made it this far, please let me know. What have you been doing? What you've been smoking? I've been kind of trying to concentrate on really appreciating one blend or a genre of blends and kind of staying in that burley area. Man, I really enjoy Five Brothers. In fact, I might have some after this bowl. But OJK is another one I didn't think I was going to like at all. And I'm going to try and really put my focus on that while relaxing still. There's a cat right here. I don't want to make it feel like work, but I also don't want to get too scattered. Plus, I think that'll give me a real reason to stick with a blend and kind of move through what I got. I think it'll be a little bit easier. So, I think last week or the week before, might have been the week before, I kind of gathered up all my English and Balkan styles that I haven't even looked at, and I packed them. There's this cat right here. I don't know what he's doing. We got all these stray cats around. But I packed those away, and I think I kept like maybe 3 English styles available. So when I do feel like an English blend, I can grab that. I was thinking about the aromatics I have too, and I have like some that are aromatic blends and some that are like the goopy, really highly flavored aromatics. Those I haven't really touched in a long time. So I might, I was thinking about kind of visiting that to work through it, kind of get rid of some of that stuff. But every time I feel like that, I'm like, you know what sounds good right now? Some Crosscut or some Exhausted Rooster. I don't know what this cat's doing. They're not even our cats. Hey, get! They just make themselves at home. Sometimes it's not that bad because they keep rats away and other stuff. But check this out. The other day, oh man. So growing up, I'm highly allergic to cats. And I never really liked them. And they know that. They love me. They come and they can smell it. They're like, that guy's allergic. I'm going to go rub up on his face and sit in his lap. But living here, we've had some that kind of just live around these few houses, and they just love it. There's like prides of them. And they're starting to get more comfortable here. But we went to go to the store yesterday, and we scared a cat that was by the corner of our car. Well, actually Carrie's car. And I didn't see this, but it had to be him. He tore up a little lizard. It was really messed up. I love reptiles. I love lizards. They're my buddies. It tore off his tail, or he probably dropped his tail because, you know, it's a defense mechanism. But then the cat ripped off his legs. So it's just like this nub of a lizard trying to squirm away like a little millipede. I felt so bad. Oh man, I was like, dude, cats are mean because they'll kill things and they'll just toy with things. They'll just kind of torture them. They don't even eat them. Some of these cats, they like to eat the lizards here. Sometimes they just want to keep their fangs and claws sharp. They're little mean little killing machines, man. heard that from the geckos. The call of the gecko. We have two types. We have, well, three types. We have these big green geckos. They're like green and red. They get pretty fat. They're cannibals. They eat themselves or their species and other lizards. And there's another type of gecko. We call them the Voldemorts. They're like beige colored, but they're see-through. You can see their innards, and they got like this creepy alien face. And that's the ones that make that clicking sound. But those ones are pretty chill. They just eat bugs. We have a couple that live in the kitchen actually, and I like it because they eat the termites. And then we have these little green lizards. They're called the anoles. They eat bugs too, but they look like a dinosaur, and they're like pointed. And they don't have like the fat gecko fingers, but they can still climb on all surfaces. Those guys, and they're the ones that have the dewlap. They'll puff out like this. It turns red. Oh, sorry. I used to have those as pets actually in Alaska. No animal store down the road would carry lizards because we don't have any native in Alaska. So I loved them growing up. I always had lizards. I had those guys. I had a leopard gecko. She was awesome, really pretty gecko. I had a long-tailed lizard. And then I had a couple of bearded dragons. And then I had an African jewel lizard when I was really little. That thing was cool. But here they're all over the place. You can even find Jackson chameleons out here. You'll catch them in the roads or in your yard sometimes. Those are cool. And then, yeah, there's some cool stuff here. Even when I was at work last week, 2 different times. In 1 week, I had a praying mantis crawling on me. I was working under some trees. I felt something tickling here, and I moved it, and it was a praying mantis. I was like, oh crap. And then another one, I brushed off and he fell on a stick, so I went to go move him. So I picked up the stick to go move him, and he jumped and flew at me. Anyway, so yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Finish my buffalo trace, maybe start a new bowl. This one burns kind of quick and the cob is a little short. But let me know what you guys have been up to. What you've been drinking, whether it's tea or coffee. I like seeing what you guys are up to. Not everybody drinks alcohol. Before I go, a couple of alternatives that I really like with a pipe. Or a cigar. And you probably heard me say this before already. Coffee, tea. Doesn't really matter which kind. I kind of like all teas. But to be fair, I only had box teas. Like I'm not really a tea connoisseur. So I have some loose leaf, but I don't really know what kind of, what different types of teas there are. And then Thai iced tea, hot or cold. So Thai tea or Thai iced tea. And shoot, what's another one? Oh, there's this one. It's a bubble tea, and it's just brown sugar flavored. The bubble tea I tried. The texture, I'm not a big fan of it. I do not like the boba, the big chewy ball things in it. But the tea itself is really good. And then there's also milk tea. I like these cans. I think they're Thai. Yeah, or soda. Once in a while, I like a nice cream soda or like a Dr. Pepper or something caramelly. Anyway, there you go. I'm gonna leave it here at 30 minutes. I love y'all. Take care. Smoke something good. Eat something better. Be safe. I love y'all. I'll catch you later.